Okay, before we do the forward magazine, you can see having these all these internal parts removed gives you unbelievable access inside the rifle to clean it. So you can see your chamber in there, you can see all the internals, so you'll be able to really get in there and remove all the fouling. You know, this is fairly clean. I mean, I probably shot it once or twice the last time I went because it wasn't functioning properly. You know, if you shoot 50 to 100 rounds before you clean it, trust me, this would just be completely full of gunpowder residue. You know, like microscopic amounts are deposited under pressure every time a shot is fired. So imagine after 100, maybe 150, 200 times, this would all these parts would be completely covered in gunpowder residue, which has to be cleaned, because if you don't clean it, then you'll start having problems with the operation of the rifle. It won't operate as it should. You can see the bottom, the red bit here is the follower, the magazine follower that pushes the bullets out towards the back here to be loaded into the chamber. Now the one that comes with the rifle, when I bought the rifle, that was plastic. It's just a little plastic follower, and I thought, nah, that's not gonna. It just looked really simple and weak, and I thought maybe, you know, in 10, 15, 20 years it would have broken or something would happen. So I found that you can buy aftermarket followers that are aluminium, and I think they're like $15 at Brownells. They're really easy to get, and being metal, it will give you much more longer use. So we'll get a better look at that once we take the magazine, the tubular magazine off. By having these axes here, you'll be able to get right into all the different little nooks and crannies. There's lots of little surfaces that you would need to clean, especially around the bolt, around the the chamber. Okay, so here we go, guys. Now you have to be very careful. With this, because as you'll see, the spring comes flying out. So basically you put your finger in front of it, hold it in place, remove the screw. Again, be careful the thing doesn't come flying out, because you could injure someone, or you could hurt your eye, or if somebody's standing there, or your kid, or your friend, or whoever, the spring can come out and whack them in the face, and that could injure their eye. So here we go. You can see the spring is just a big old, really flexible spring, but once you compress it, it's a lot longer. It's a lot longer than the rifle magazine, but as you compress it, obviously that's where the strength is, and then on top of that, when you start loading 10 rounds into here, the spring probably coils up to, that much, down to maybe a tenth of its normal size. It's under pressure, and then that pushes the bullets back to be fed into the chamber. Again, don't lose the cap, don't lose the screw. This can only go in one way, by the way, because as you can see here, the thread is at the back. So this will go through this, and when you screw it in, the bit that holds it in is, the threads are on this side, on the head side. Okay, the next screw we'll remove is this one here. This screw at the back here. That's not under any tension or anything like that. That is just snug. Basically, it's just a long, fat screw. What I tend to do is I keep the screws and the parts that go with the tubular magazine. I don't mix them up with these others. just so that especially when you're doing this for the first time, make sure you try to remember which screw goes where. The vital one is the ones that hold the trigger plate, because one is longer than the other. Okay, so as you can see now, this is now loose, and the tubular magazine is starting to be wobbly. But in order for us to be able to remove that completely, we're gonna need to remove this little end cap that holds the grip in place. Again, just take your time. There's no rush. No need to rush it. Just take your time and think about what you're doing, and do it carefully so you don't scratch your rifle, you don't make a mark on it, or you screw up the head of the screw. These are a little bit snug, but they're not too bad. They're only tiny little screws, as you can see. They're only small. They're only very tiny. So again, we put them beside there, turn it over. Again, they're only tiny. One on each side. Okay, now the fun part. This can now just come out, and basically the tubular magazine will just slide out. That can just come out. That comes out. And basically this just comes out. There's your shell magazine follower. So basically the grip is just held in place by this end bit here. It's not being held. Basically, it's just being held by a little bit of timber at the back. This little lip of timber that you can see here. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but it's just a little bit of timber at the end. You can see the little square there, and also at the end, the little end cap here, held in place by the screws onto these metal bits that are welded to the barrel. This little dangly bit here doesn't go anywhere, it just stays there. This has been thoroughly cleaned, so now we're just going to proceed to put back the tubular magazine. Okay, the tubular magazine's got this little wedge cut out that goes at the front, which this screw at the front has to fit in that gap in between the barrel and the magazine. So basically, just slide this back through again. Okay, we put the follower in. Yep, it's gone all the way through, that's fine. Okay. You just got to remember put the follower into the tube before you tighten this screw, otherwise it won't go past. Okay, now we can put this in here. Okay, this light, I had to rig up a light because there's not enough light in here. It's freaking hot, so it's very important to remain well hydrated. So cheers guys, cheers and happy camping. Alright, okay, so what we'll do is we'll replace these side screws here first. They're a little bit tricky to get in. They're a little bit tricky to get in, but once you get one in, you're okay. Okay, just put it part of the way in, then do the other side, and then once they're both on the way, then you can just snug them up. Okay, turn around. I oil the part of the barrel facing the tubular magazine, because you hardly ever get in there unless you take the Foreguard off. So you might as well take that opportunity to clean it, get the dust out of there, and give it a bit of oil so that it'll stay nice and free of rust. There we go. Cheers. Okay, and then now we insert the magazine spring. Basically run it along. Before we put that, we're gonna put this screw back in. Okay, and the screw will only go in from one side, which is the right hand side. And also you gotta make sure the magazine tube is not off center. Once you put it in, it should go straight through. Make sure, I've been caught with this screw, make sure you use one that is the proper width and the proper size, so you don't screw your screw, pardon the pun. Okay, don't snug it up all the way. Do it after you do the spring. So now with the spring, you just have to push it as much as even as you can. Hold it, push it, hold it, push it, hold it. Then you gotta have your plug ready and your screw ready. Remember, the screw only goes in from one side, one direction. Okay, so you push it in, making sure you hold it. Remember, the screw tightens near the top, not at the front but the top, so it's got to be lined up properly. And again, it's got to be the proper screw head. Okay, you can tell once it's reached the end of it, it won't go any further, it's just solid tight. That's as far as it goes. So now we come back to this nut and we snug that one up. That'll do. So now your magazine is back on, well secured. These are nice and tight. This one is nice and tight, and most importantly that one is nice and tight. And as you can tell, it's pretty straight.